Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. I apologize for the late start. It was kind of a combination of technical issues and just an uncertainty if we were doing the show or not. But we are doing it. We are here, so let's just dive right on in. We're gonna start out with NXT, as always, guys. So here we go. We started off with a promo segment by the new NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. It was interrupted by Lala Valkyria, and then Tatum Paxley came out, and Tatum turned on Lara. She beat her down, left her in a heap, and then Roxanne kind of got a little cocky and arrogant, thinking, well, I guess my night here is done. I guess I get to go home. No, you're not. Because the next thing we know we did have was it was interrupted by Natalia. She basically talked about, hey, I remember what happened, everything else, and the whole 9 yards, and, I deserve a shot at the title, that, what you did last week, what you've been doing here in NXT, I don't like it. The Mama Hen came out and she was like, I'm going to fight you for the NXT title. Roxanne's like, nah, that ain't happening. You're not worthy of it. So pass. I'm heading on out. Have a good night. Well, Ava came out and was like, no. You should know better than anybody else that I run NXT, not you. So Natty is getting her shot. She is fighting you, and that fight's going to be later tonight. Solid opener, good promo segment. Roxanne's getting more comfortable as a heel. I gotta say, she's doing pretty good as that heel, as the heel in this storyline. I think it's not bad. I mean, it could be better, but she is working on it, which I don't mind. And so nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, come on in. A lot to talk about at the beginning of the show.
Indeed, there is. And before we start, MF, I just want to take this moment to say how much I love this business. And I felt that it was in the best interest of what we do. We love doing this. We love.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We love giving you our opinions. Opinions that, oh, by the way, are not bought and paid for. They're real. They're from our hearts, man. And I just wanted to give you this quick little disclaimer and say, we thought about postponing the show tonight. We did. But I feel that, because MF and I and Michael Bullock, and whenever she's on, Dee Woodson, we love what we do. I love it so much, I wish we could do this for a living. I really do. Like all these other professionals out there. But it doesn't matter if we have a big following. It doesn't matter if we have a small following. It doesn't matter. We love what we do. And we do this. And when we do these shows each and every week, when I say that we love doing this, this is our way of showing it. I'm telling you all that right now. So, yes, a lot went down tonight. A lot of, high school hee.
We'll get into that. No, we'll get into that tonight. We'll get into it.
Yeah, a lot went into that, and it's going to make a lot of people, not in the best of moods. But being the professionals, the gentlemen that we are, and the high standards that we have, that we hold ourselves to when we bring you these programs each and every week. It's not often I say this, but tonight, MF and I, and if Bullock does come in, and we have to catch him up on what he missed, whatever. But tonight, we are going to give you what we give you each and every single week. We strive to give you the best damn content we can give you, and we're going to give you our personal best here tonight. That's what the number one goal here tonight. So, just wanted to get that off my chest. It's not a rant in any way. It's just me, having this platform, which I am beyond grateful for. I'm so grateful that we live in a day and age where we have platforms like this, where we can share our opinions. You may not like our opinions. You may like our opinions. But when I say I tell it like it is, that's not a catchphrase. I mean it. MF tells it like it is. He means it. That's not a catchphrase. Michael Bullock, same thing with him. So, our dear friends, our dear followers, tonight, you're gonna get an all-timer here tonight. So, why? Because we love this business. Period. End of statement. End of quotation. Now let's get to the business at hand. Roxanne Perez came out to gloat, and Lyra Valkyria demanded a rematch. Tatum Paxley told the Valkyrie that she wasn't ready, and then attacked her idol. Natalya arrives to challenge the Prodigy, and General Manager Ava made it official despite the complaints of Perez. The Prodigy, all right, now, MF, I agree with you when it comes to the heel role. The heel turn for Roxy is doing wonders for her. But I got to tell her like it is. I felt that she struggled a bit in her first long heel promo as champion. Just a bit. Especially finding her pace with the NXT crowd. However, she still delivered a point well and continues to grow as a villain. It would be a shame if Roxy's title reign is short-lived, but all signs seem to indicate she is heading to the main roster sooner than later. Tatum Paxley turning on Lyra Valkyria was a bizarre move at this stage. Perhaps it would be better explained down the line, but this came up as another case of NXT breaking up a women's team a little too soon. And Natalya makes perfect sense as Roxy's first challenger. A veteran who can make her look good and elevate her standing. And the Queen of Hearts is acclimating well to a longer NXT run. And in all honesty, MF, Natalya and NXT, I think it's perfect because of the fact that she doesn't really have anything left to prove on the main roster anymore. She's been there, done that. Use her voice, use her expertise, and now you can use her in a role that she has been acclimated to for the last several years, and that is reliable, utility, veteran. Those girls are going to learn so much from her, I'm telling you. They really are. So, out of respect for possible time constraints here, I'm not going to go into any further thoughts on anything we do on either show, maybe with the exception of the one of the big talking point, but in an effort to keep the show moving as smooth as silk, MF, I respectfully ask you to set me up for our first in-ring action of last night's NXT, if you would.
All right, it was a women's tag team bout as it was Kiana James and Izzy Dane versus Fallon Henley and Kalani Jordan. And it was Kiana James and Izzy Dane winning the match in 6 minutes and 58 seconds. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henley could not build more momentum from Stand and Deliver. The latter saved the former from a charging Izzy Dane, but she took the 401k from Kiana James for her interference. Wrestling matches are always better without a commercial break, and the women benefited from an uninterrupted 7 minutes. Keep in mind, last night's show, the first 30 minutes were commercial-free. Obviously, they wanted to keep the momentum going from Monday Night Raw, where they had the first hour commercial-free. Makes sense. Match could have gone longer, but the flow still made everyone look good. Fallon Henley especially stood out, despite taking the pinfall loss here. And I believe Fallon Henley should be a front runner for the newly created Women's North American Championship whenever they're ready to get the ball rolling on that thing. And I believe she and that Henley and Kiana James could use that particular title as a reason to truly reignite their feud. So, so with that being said, this was a solid 2.5, teetering on 2 3/4 of a star. So with that being said, MF, your thoughts?
2.5 is the right rating. I thought they did a really good job with the match. Could have been a little more better in a certain situation, most likely. But at the end of the day, I think they did a really good job. So I really got nothing more to say. And now here is the next thing on the show. We had was Javon Evans going up against Scripps. Javon Evans winning the match in 5 minutes and 31 seconds. Holy freaking crap. All right. This was, even though the match was short, it was 2.5 stars. That's my rating for the bout. But Javon Evans, you got to watch this kid. Oh my God. Dude, I was getting Ricochet vibes with this dude. That middle rope where he does that variation of like the Cody Cutter looked absolutely flawless. Like I was like, oh my God. My jaw was on the floor. It was picture perfect. The way he twisted in the air, hit Scripps with the cutter. I was like, oh my God. It was amazing. This guy, I heard the rumors about him when he announced that he was coming to NXT. I didn't see much about him. Anthony, I think he was on Level Up, so you probably know more than I do about Javon. Huh?
Certainly I do, yes.
Yeah, so you know more than I do about Javon Evans. This is the first time I got to see him. And I got to say, I love what I saw. This was absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, this is at least 2.25 to maybe 2.5. I'll give you that. Oh my God, man. This guy just... the future is bright for this kid, man. And they gave him the perfect opponent against Scripps. That's all I'm saying. Wow. Welcome to NXT. That's all I'm saying. Florio, go.
He's 19 years old, MF. 19 years old. And he's moving, and he's doing things like these guys, these experienced veterans are doing. Wow. In his NXT TV debut, Javon Evans lived up to his promise that he is, quote unquote, bouncy. He flew in and out of the ring and hit a springboard corkscrew senton for the win against Scripps. WWE knows it has something special with the young OG, and the fans know it too. In an era when so many wrestlers can fly, he stands out because he almost floats. This was a pure spot fest, but it was a great opportunity to highlight Javon Evans. Scripps may lack for credibility, but he can certainly keep up with a speedster. The young OG has a massive ceiling for success and already looks more polished than many of NXT's new stars. He will make for some great social media highlight reels. Another 2.5 stars for the effort. And we always talk about, certain wrestlers to watch for, post WrestleMania, post Stand and Deliver, what have you. This kid is very high up on my list of people to watch for after post Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania, what have you. I know he's very young. Like I said, he's only 19 years old. But I believe within the next 1 to 2 years, I believe that kid's going to be wearing championship gold. And what a sight that will be when that happens. So keep an eye out, folks. This kid is something special. And we're going to be talking, and I got a feeling we're going to be talking about this young man for many, 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 many years to come. 2.5. So with that being said, MF, we move on to the first of not one, but 2 championship matches on last night's NXT.
Yes, it was. It was Roxanne Perez putting the NXT women's title on the line against Natalya. Roxanne Perez winning the match in 11 minutes and 27 seconds to successfully defend the title, thanks to a little bit of some help by Lola Vice. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, sir. 3.25. I would have given it 3.5, but I'm bumping it down to 3.25 because of the interference, the predictable interference by Lola Vice. I'll have more on that in a moment. Natalya had Roxanne Perez on the ropes through much of this bout. It was only thanks to a surprise kick from Lola Vice that the Prodigy could hit Pop Rocks and take the win. This was an oddly paced match where Natty heavily dominated the action. This did not allow Perez to get much heat with a crowd that was ready to lean into rooting against her. Lola Vice's interference, as I mentioned, was predictable but sloppy, throwing one lazy kick for her cheap shot. It should not have been necessary for the Prodigy in her first title defense. Still, Roxy and Natty are both solid technical wrestlers who showed off their ability to naturally transition through offense. They worked through the messy booking calls to deliver a good match. Obviously, Roxanne Perez needed to win here, but with so many teases that the Prodigy is getting drafted, NXT has less than a month to pivot. As I stated this past Monday night on Ridiculously Raw, WWE Draft 2024 begins Friday night, April 26th on Friday Night SmackDown, and will conclude on Monday, April 29th on Monday Night Raw. One of those shows, if the plan is for her to get drafted, you got to have her drop the belt within the next few weeks, even though it would be somewhat of a disservice because her first title reign was 109 days. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm actually going to give this about 3 to 3.25 for the effort. So I would say second best fight of the night here. So with that being said, MF, Roxy, first title defense. No surprise, it was a successful one, defeating the reliable utility veteran in Natty. But there's no doubt about it. I believe in my heart of hearts she's getting drafted. If her appearance on Raw Monday night was not any indication, tell me what is.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that, like you said, she showed up on Raw, so that really kind of tipped the hand a little bit. That because, like you said, and another person that we'll see later on tonight has also put his name in the hat of possibly getting drafted. But it looks like, remember, it's not just that. It doesn't look like not only is Raw going to get a factor, not only is SmackDown getting a factor, but it's possible. Now, I can't confirm or deny, but with Ava showing up on Monday Night Raw, is it possible that NXT might actually get some draft picks in here where they could steal somebody from the main roster to bring them down to NXT? I mean, I think it would be fair, or it would be kind of fair if you do it. I would say do it this way. Three picks for Monday Night Raw, because obviously 3-hour show. 2 picks for SmackDown. 2 picks for NXT. I mean, they deserve it. They deserve the opportunity. Everybody is a free agent. And then you decide, that's how you decide who gets what. And then obviously you do the rounds accordingly. So, I mean, NXT deserves the same opportunities as Raw and SmackDown does in this. Now, who they select, that remains to be seen, because is there some kind of rule where maybe you could say Raw and SmackDown is like, all right, we got guys that is eligible for NXT, like, you know how they do these, what do they call it? How they normally do like these expansion drafts where you have certain guys that are protected. You're not allowed to draft them, but you create a list of like maybe 10 or 15 guys that the expansion team can draft from this list. I wonder if that's how WWE will do it, by saying, all right, NXT can draft, but you can only get these certain guys. You're like, the top stars are not eligible, but any mid-card guys are definitely in play. So that would be my thought, at least when it comes to NXT and how to handle them. So we'll see. All right, so next up we had was Luca Crucifino and Channing Stacks and Lorenzo. They went up against 2 members of the No Quarters Catch crew, as it ended up being Damon Kemp and Miles Bourne. And when it was all said and done, It was the family winning the match in 4 minutes and 1 second. It was a fine. It was an okay match. I could give this about 2 stars. It wasn't anything amazing, but Luca Crucifino is still got some work to do, man. He looks a little green, but he did have, he's got a good tag team partner and Stacks. Obviously, Tony D'Angelo was not there. Probably showing, probably storyline version because of they wanted to give him that he had like this grueling battle for the NXT title. And at the end of the day, I think they did an okay job with it. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, 2 stars. It's yours.
What was the time of the fall?
403.
Yeah, that's about 2 for that. It was a rushed and forgettable bout from everyone involved. Miles Bourne and Damon Kemp did not look clean together, and the action was sloppy. No Quarter Catch Crew still cannot find credibility as a unit. Without Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey needs to step up even more as the true leader of the group, while Damon Kemp and Miles Bourne need to do more. At least the family is not losing steam after Tony D'Angelo's tough luck loss to Ilya Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. Stacks and Crucifino are starting to find their chemistry as the new tag team of the stable. Nothing more to say. Solid 2 stars for the effort. So with that being said, MF, we move on to our next match.
No, we don't. I'm going to take a minute to talk about this promo segment by the NXT North American champion Obafemi, and he was interrupted by a raid. That's right, Ivar of the Viking Raiders showed up, and it was a meat market. We had 2 boys kind of having ourselves, dude. I can't, dude. This was a meat market. We're going to get to see this. We're going to get to see a fight down the line between Ivar and Obafemi. They're going to be slapping meat. It's going to be a meat fight, man. Be a man. Let's go. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Yeah. Obafemi headed to the ring to challenge anyone to step up to him. Ivar of the Viking Raiders arrived, laid out the champion, and made his case for a title shot. And great segment here. There's no doubt about it. And hey, Ivar would be a great next challenger for Obafemi in the North American Championship. And here's another guy. I talked earlier about Javon Evans being, as a guy, as someone to watch post Stand and Deliver. Here's another guy that we need to keep an eye on, Obafemi. And I believe bigger and better things are coming for him. And you thought that 3-way with Briggs and Dijak was great? You got another be a man fight right here with Obafemi and Ivar. I know for some people out there, they're saying, oh yeah, there's going to be a slow plodding big man match. No, it's not going to be. I dare you to go back and watch Stand and Deliver. A lot of people thought the same way about Obafemi, Dijak, and Josh Briggs. They're thinking, oh, this is going to be a slow, boring match. No. In most of the reviews that I read, a lot of people went as far as to call that the fight of the night. That's how good it was.
Yeah, it was.
And I have no doubt in my mind, MF, Obafemi and Ivar, whenever they do it, it could be a potential show stealer. I believe in it. And I'm damn sure looking forward to seeing that match whenever they decide to do it. I think it could be at the earliest possible date. I think it could be as part of that either week 1 or week 2 of that spring break-in, because spring break-in is coming back. Tuesday night, April 23rd, week 1, and week 2, Tuesday, April 30th. Happy birthday, MF. You got yourself a special NXT to look forward to. That's their present to you. So, and my hope is that they give you a damn good show on your birthday, because you damn sure deserve one. So with that, very good segment here. Femi and Ivar in a Be a Man fight? Yes, please. So 23rd or 30th, MF, spring breaking. Book it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely excited if that's the case, but we'll see. All right, so next up, now we get back into the matches. Let's see. I believe it is. Yeah. All right. Jada Parker versus Breland Reese,
Brinley.
and yeah, and it was Jada Parker winning the match in 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5, 2 3/4. I'll go as far as to call this sleeper fight of the night. I didn't think this was going to amount to anything. I'll be honest with you.
No.
But this ended up being far more entertaining than it had any right to be. Jada Parker found a tough out in Brinley Reese, but managed to take her down with a hip attack for the win. Keep in mind that neither Brinley Reese nor Jada Parker are fully formed as in-ring performers just yet. And this is understandable with less than a year under their belts, but it does not make for the best viewing experience. The two have done a solid job establishing their characters, though the hierarchy is clear. Jada Parker is on a track toward more serious rivalry soon, especially backing up OTM, while Brinley Reese cannot buy a win. But I will give this 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for a solid effort. Not the best, keep in mind, no, but it was the sleeper fight of the night. Like I said, I thought this was going to be a 3 to 4 minute ho-hum diva fight. They gave them almost 8 minutes, and they had a nice little sprint here. So credit to both ladies. Well done. 2.5, 2 3/4 sleeper fight of the night. MF, what says you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I could go about 2.5 to 3. Yeah, this match was actually better than I thought. When I was watching this back, I was looking at the action. I'm like, whoa, this is really good. I mean, it was a solid performance. I really enjoyed it. I really got nothing bad to say about it. So let's just move right on along, and we have the main event of the evening, which was Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker. And this was a last chance for Axiom and Nathan Frazier. If they lost this fight, they would not get another opportunity at the NXT Tag Team Championships. Well, they made the most of the moment. Winners of the bout, 11 minutes and 35 seconds, and the new NXT Tag Team Champions, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, winning the titles. However, the celebration was short-lived because after the moment had happened, it turned into a Donnybrook because guess who showed up? AOP, more importantly, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, and Paul Ellering. The Final Testament invaded NXT. When I saw AOP, I was like, oh no. I freaked out because I knew what was about to happen. It was Beatdown City, and Axiom, Nathan Frazier, say hello to your next opponents, and I believe the next NXT Tag Team Champions. That's what I'm saying. Florio, it is yours. By the way, sorry. 3.5 to 4, fight of the night. Now you can go.
Exactly. My sentiments exactly. 3.5 to 4 in a shocking upset. Although I'll be honest, I didn't consider it
not a shocking upset.
Not to me. Not
nope.
to me. Because MF, I know you weren't as high as I am about these guys. You had some doubts about Frazier and Axiom, but I never did. I said if there was ever a team that could dethrone Breaker and Corbin for those tag team titles, this was the team to do it. And sure enough, I had this one. And I'm not at all surprised. In a shocking upset, Nathan Frazier and Axiom pulled off a huge win last night. After sending Braun Breaker into Baron Corbin, they hit the Golden Ratio and the Phoenix Splash to win the NXT Tag Team Championships. The Final Testament arrived afterward, and the Authors of Pain laid out the new champions. What a match once again. This was easily the best thing on NXT television last night, after the tag teams had one of the best matches of WrestleMania weekend. The story of this bout was clear from the outset. Axiom and Nathan Frazier simply wanted it more. They bet their tag team future on winning the gold, and the extra push was enough to take down the Wolf Dogs. Was there a reason that the title change needed to happen 3 days after Stand and Deliver? Probably not, but it certainly made this bout and the aftermath feel electric. The Supersonic Duo may be the best tag team in all of WWE at the present, and they will be worthy champions no matter how long they hold the gold. It may not be long with AOP coming back for gold and a needed credibility boost. The Final Testament needed a reset, and NXT will make the group feel larger than life for a while. But it's surprising that the gold brand went away from Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson in this role as main roster title challengers. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin make each other better, and they should get the main roster call up together. With the titles off them, though, that is far from a certainty. Excellent match, and one quick after-match observation here. Nathan Frazier and Axiom announced before the match that they would split as a tag team. They would stop teaming together if they lost this rematch. That's how bad they wanted. That's how bad they wanted this opportunity. And Ava gave them the opportunity, and those two young men made the most of it. And I couldn't be any more happier for those guys. I mean, Cody Rhodes Sunday night was one thing, but this is another. And two great underdog victories in a span of 3 days. I mean, Cody's the bigger deal, obviously, but what a moment for Nathan Frazier and Axiom. These two young men I have been beyond high on for the longest time, and I just cannot help but be happy for those young men. They damn sure deserve it. And here comes another spring breaking match right here. The question is, which week? Will it be the 23rd or will it be MF's birthday? I don't know. But regardless of when we get it, I expect it to be a classic big guy team versus small guy team. Frazier and Axiom. I'm gonna do the old school Jesse analysis on this one. And Monsoon, I know you'll agree with me when I say Frazier and Axiom, the quicker of the two teams. AOP definitely the bigger and the stronger of the two teams. So It's going to make for a very interesting match whenever they do it. So congratulations, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Well deserved. I'm over the moon for you guys. You damn sure deserve it. You busted your asses off for it. And Breaker and Corbin, like I said, main roster bound. Well, Corbin's going back to the main roster. Breaker on his way. It's likely SmackDown because, he technically signed with SmackDown. So don't be surprised if SmackDown when SmackDown announces a pick, don't be surprised if Braun Breaker's one of them. And Baron Corbin as well. So 3.5 to 4 fight of the night. NMF, we conclude last night's show with, without a doubt, the biggest winner of Stand and Deliver.
Yes, it was. It was Trick Williams coming out. He started cutting a promo about maybe what's next, and he said it. He wants a shot at the NXT title. Calls out Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov said no at first and said, "Look, you're just caught up in the moment. You're caught up in the hype. I know you want an opportunity. I just don't believe you deserve it. I already beat you the first time around." And then Dragon leaves, and then Ilya's like, "All right, you know what? We'll do this. You want a shot at the belt? Fine. If you beat me, you're the NXT champion. If you lose, you're gone. You're out of NXT, never to come back." There are some people that actually think that, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but there are some people that actually think Trick Williams is going to lose and is actually going to the main roster. He's that hot, and everybody wants him on the main roster. Now, I know Anthony, myself, when we first started this, we're thinking he's the next NXT champion. I don't know, Anthony, because especially after the reaction he had when that one time he showed up on SmackDown, and especially how over he got at Stand and Deliver, I think he might be heading to the main roster. I think they might bypass him, have him leave NXT and actually have him go to the main roster. He's that hot. So I don't know. At first, I'm thinking, he's the next NXT champion. Now, I'm thinking completely different because where I'm thinking is, I don't think so now. I honestly think he's going to lose this fight. And because what Carmelo Hayes did last night, he got involved. That almost makes me even more concerned that Trick could actually lose this. So it's yours.
Well, this actually was the segment of the night here. Trick Williams gave Carmelo Hayes his flowers and then gladly turned his attention to Ilya Dragunov. The crowd was completely behind the challenge, and the Mad Dragon only agreed if Trick put his NXT career on the line. The two agreed on the terms, but Carmelo Hayes arrived and laid out both men, and Melo announced he would fight Trick next week in a steel temper cage. Oh boy. WWE is putting all the chips on the table with Trick. He will fight Melo again next week, followed by a battle with Ilya Dragunov at Spring Break in Week 1. All signs point to him winning it all. But Trick's NXT career being on the line could give some pause. MF, perhaps WWE is ready to push him straight into the main roster title scene. The next 2 weeks will dramatically reshape the future of the Gold Brand's main event scene. And I hope it ends with Trick at the top of the world. I believe NXT still feels like the right place for his rise to success. But again, we have to wait and see how they decide to go about it. What Shawn Michaels and Ava and all them are, how they want to go about it. All I know is we're here for the ride, and we can't wait to see it. So it's the segment of the night. I know we're probably going to be of differing opinions on this. MF, I know you think Dragunov's not going to get... I mean, you have Trick losing the title match, but I still... I
want to see Trick win it all, but all of a sudden now I'm starting to think that... And remember where the fight lands. Night 1 of the thing. When is the draft? That Friday night.
That's right.
Is it possible that and that's the thing. If Trick wins, then all right, he's not, I don't think he's going anywhere. But if he loses,
he's getting drafted.
He's getting drafted. It's almost a given. He's gone.
Easy.
It's almost a given. He's going. Now the big question is, does he go to Raw? Does he go to SmackDown? That's the one thing I would say. And let me tell you, if there's one guy that I would love to see on SmackDown Blue, that would be Trick Williams. We saw him the one time on SmackDown, and the fans went bonkers. So yeah. I don't know. That's the concern I have, is that going into this, I think we all were thinking the same thing. We all were thinking, Trick is going to win the belt. He's going to become the new champ. And they're going to give him the golden moment. But now this gives me a cause to pause because the draft is going to be that week. That's why I'm a little nervous.
Fair enough. So we'll wait and see. But for right now, segment of the night for me. So who leads off on overall review? Is it me or is it you?
It's you.
It's me. I thought so. Okay. I am going to give this somewhere in... this is going to be a surprisingly high rating here. I'm going to give this between 7.5 to 8. Last night's NXT went about as big as possible. A surprise title change, an important debut, and multiple main roster stars making an impact. It felt special. The quality of the show only truly ramped up in the final 30 minutes, but that final quarter set the stage in a major way for the future of this brand. Spring Breakin' will begin in 2 weeks, and NXT is already crafting a card that can capitalize on the hype for the Gold brand as well as the WWE draft on the horizon. The in-ring main event was an absolute barn burner. Nathan Frazier and Axiom deserved their moment in the sun, and I am hopeful it will last. Roxanne Perez's title reign has started out a bit rocky, but she had a solid outing with Natalya. With the added wrinkle of Lyra Valkyria looking for revenge and a loaded women's division eager for gold, there is too much talent involved for NXT to fail. As a whole, this was an encouraging night for NXT that has set the stage for the rest of April to continue an upward trajectory for the Gold brand. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 is my rating. MF, your thoughts, and then we'll get into what was a very heated Dynamite tonight.
Yeah, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I think you hit it right on the head. So let's start out with AEW Dynamite. So we started out with the match. It was supposed to have been Dustin Rhodes versus Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came out, and then Swerve attacked him. So obviously, we got nothing off that. Didn't get off the ground. Don't worry, guys. We'll get that match later in the evening. So we'll just have to wait and see. Next up we had was Adam Copeland versus Penta El Zero Miedo for the TNT title. This was an open challenge. And Adam Copeland wins the match in 20 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, this match was a 30-minute time limit. It went 20 minutes. It was a great match. Absolutely the right fight to start off with after the chaos that started out. It ended up being a 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. You can even make an argument for 4. That's how good the match went. Adam Copeland and Penta El Zero Miedo absolutely went for it, and they gave us a barn burner. A tremendous opener. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
With all due respect, MF, I think you underscored this a little bit. 4.25, teetering on 4.5. This was the fight of the night. There's no question about it. Adam Copeland defending the TNT title against Penta. While the Rated R superstar may have been more experienced, Penta was not the young talent Copeland has often faced in AEW when not fighting Christian Cage. He is a decorated champion and was seen as one of the more skilled competitors the TNT champion has faced. The announcers did a good job making it seem like Penta was a viable challenger, even though nobody expected the title to change hands here. For two guys who have never worked together, they had great chemistry. Adam Copeland was a good base for the high flyer, but he did not let Penta have all the fun. He pulled off a few impressive feats of agility, like a head scissor takedown and a few leapfrogs in a row. This bout lasted through not one, but 2 commercial breaks without overstaying its welcome. While it certainly delivered some highly enjoyable action, it happened during a very strange first half hour that featured a notable production error and a disjointed opening with an attack and a delayed bout. A spear secured the win for Copeland and allowed him to retain the TNT championship. This bout is one that could have felt much more important with a few weeks of buildup. The lights dropped, and TBS champion Julia Hart appeared to distract Adam Copeland so Brody King could attack. Willow Nightingale ended up making the save by attacking Julia Hart to distract Brody King so Adam Copeland could get the upper hand. So this was a 4.25, teetering on 4.5 stars. Hands down the fight of the night. Great matchup between two great workers. And next week on Dynamite, Edge, we're going to have ourselves a mixed tag. We're going to have Edge and Willow Nightingale, or I should say Adam Copeland and Willow Nightingale, squaring off against Julia Hart and Brody King. Interesting. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. So 4.25, 4.5, and MF. It's time for the talking point.
All right. So it basically ended up being, I'll set it up. The Young Bucks was cutting a promo, and they showed the footage. They said that they were going to show it. The whole world knew it was going to happen. They showed the footage of the incident between CM Punk and Jack Perry, the incident that went down in London backstage at Wembley at All In. But then they turned it around where the Young Bucks basically is like, after dealing with all that, and then you wanted us to shake your hands, basically blaming FTR that the only reason why they lost that fight was because they were in EVP mode. That they were dealing with much more bigger stress, much more bigger problems than just that fight. The drama that was going in the back. Now, there's been a lot of people that made a lot of opinions about what went down. Some people are mocking AEW, mocking Tony Khan, even mocking the Young Bucks. CM Punk absolutely was made out to be that, hey, he already addressed this during WrestleMania week, Ariel Lawani, and it actually validated what he said. He talked about the incident. He talked about what happened, and the footage actually backed up what CM Punk talked to Ariel Lawani about word for word. That he got into it with Jack Perry. Yeah, I choked him a little bit, which he did, but he never punched him. Now, he did swing for him, but he did not connect. If you saw the video, he swung at Perry, but he never hit him. So, a lot of people are really, really, really going after AEW, and it's not just WWE marks. Because that's the one thing that you think. You're thinking, WWE marks are all over this. They're poking fun at them and blah, blah. No. Even true IWC fans are ripping AEW tonight. They're ripping the immaturity of Tony Khan. They're ripping the fact that this footage, if this footage would have came out a month, like literally, if this footage would have came out even a month, when after the suspension and after you fired CM Punk, and if you would have showed this footage, I think fans would have been more validated than like, all right, you know what, we understand, maybe at that time, maybe there was more sympathy towards AEW. But to do this 8 months after the incident actually happened, I even said it on social media. If you didn't check my X, I said that it was pathetic, it was desperate, and it was sad. And I'll even go as far to say that this is their version of Happy Days jumping the shark. And if you want to be a pro wrestling fan, that we are, this is like the equivalent of the finger poke of doom of WCW. They never recovered after that incident. I don't know if AEW recovers after tonight. That's how bad it got. And you could even notice in the crowd how the crowd got very quiet. Hell, they were chanting CM Punk after the incident happened. That's how much of a mockery you made yourself look like, AEW. So, I got nothing more to say. I think I basically left I made all my thoughts and my opinions on social media. I will leave it there. If you want to know what my real thoughts are and how I truly felt, go on my Facebook and go on my Twitter, aka X. That's where you'll get my honest, true opinions about the whole incident tonight. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
The Young Bucks were sitting backstage with a monitor and talked about both the upcoming Dynasty pay-per-view and what happened at All In. They called Jack Perry the scapegoat in this situation, but didn't name the other individual involved. They only mentioned that FTR was friends with him and even insinuated FTR set the whole thing up to throw the Bucks off before their match. Nick and Matt played the silent footage that showed Punk approaching Perry backstage. They speak for several seconds, and you see Punk shove Perry to begin the physical altercation that is immediately broken up. The Bucks ended their part of the segment by hyping Bucks versus FTR 4 at Dynasty. FTR came to the ring and said everyone is ready to move on from this. They talked for a few minutes and sort of made a hybrid promo about AEW moving forward and hyping their match against the Bucks. It's so hard to decide how to feel about this. On one hand, it was a creative way to hype a feud that had nothing to do with the guys in the footage. But on the other hand, it felt totally unnecessary and like a reactionary response to CM Punk's recent interview with Ariel Helwani. At the end of the day, this isn't going to change much. CM Punk fans will still be CM Punk fans. CM Punk haters will still be CM Punk haters. And fans and haters of AEW will view this in two completely different ways. It is so subjective that rating it or putting any kind of a rating on this is pointless. FTR and the Bucks seemed passionate in their performances, but they could have brought that to any promo. Calling the Bucks Rod and Todd Flanders was hilarious. The footage being silent makes it impossible to tell how the conversation escalated, but there is no mistaking who took the first shot. This has been a major talking point for the last few hours. A lot of folks here on YouTube have gone on profanity-laced tirades, and I very easily could go into it. MF could very easily go into it, but MF had his say on his respective social medias, on his Facebook and his X, and I saw both of them. And MF, what you said on both of those posts, I 100% agree with you on everything that you said about it. I mean, it's pettiness. That's what it is. And people wonder why Triple H is a far better booker, promoter than Tony Khan is right now. This is obviously sour grapes from AEW because of the fact that, for many reasons, one, WWE had a very successful WrestleMania weekend, maybe their most successful weekend ever, with all the revenue and merchandise and social media views and having a combined attendance of over 200,000 people for the WrestleMania SmackDown in the Hall of Fame, Stand and Deliver, both nights of WrestleMania, and then Raw Monday night. And of course, one of the guys who helped jumpstart AEW is now the WWE champion.
Mm.
You think they don't have sour grapes about that? Huh. All this was for me is something, it's like high school BS drama, something you would get on one of those BS reality shows, like a Jersey Shore or a Kardashian spinoff or The Bachelor or what have you.
Mm.
That's what it was. Campy, pointless, reality show. He said, she said BS. And I have no tolerance for that whatsoever. And I'll tell you what. And let me ask you this, MF. After that was over, did you see how embarrassed Tony Schiavone was? Did you see that look on his face?
Yeah. I noticed that instantly when it happened. Yeah. I think a lot of people...
Didn't you see Taz? Taz had like a, well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the most notable of all was Tony Schiavone. And I'll tell
Schiavone.
you what, if I was sitting at ringside, if I was on that announce team, I would have done the exact same damn thing Tony Schiavone did tonight.
Yeah.
Because I was beyond embarrassed. Colossal waste of time. And like I said, Triple H, Tony Khan, I'm all in on the game, baby. I'm all in on him.
I think after tonight, I think everybody is all in on Triple H because, like I said, I got a funny feel, and I even talked to some guys, 2184 crew members, and guys who I'm very close with in my Discord family,
Absolutely.
and they all were saying the same thing: that this was a ratings grab, this was pathetic,
Yep.
that this was that this was absolutely just not so incredible. Like this was an absolute ratings grab. We
Mm-hmm.
knew that, and even one of them said it made AEW look desperate. It made them look desperate. I mean, that's how bad it. Like that's as bad as you can say. When you start saying that, that's almost like, wow, man, really?
It's
So
WCW. This reeks of WCW 2000.
yeah, and that's why I was like, what is this? Are we sure Tony Khan is running AEW? It's not Vince freaking Russo, because that's the only thing I can think of. Only Vince Russo would do something this stupid, something this idiotic. But
Amen.
I don't know, man. I mean, look, like we said, I already gave my opinion about it. I already had my 2 cents on my social media.
And I agree with everything.
I'm not gonna give any more thoughts about it. Then, if you want to see what my real thoughts are, what my real opinion is, check out my social media, folks.
Finger
That's how
poking
you
doom.
find it. Right
Finger
now,
poking
28 people have seen it on my Twitch. 28 people have seen it on my X/Twitter, and I think I don't know how many seen it on my Facebook, but guys, thank you for viewing it. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, and like you said, MF, it's the finger poke of doom, and this reeks of WCW 2000. It reeks of Bash at the Beach 2000. I mean, you know what happened that night. Anybody who's anybody that's a wrestling fan knows exactly what happened July 9th of 2000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This was AEW's version of that. So, and you wonder why that. I mean, and it's so sad. The first 3 weeks of March, they were producing quality television, maybe their best Dynamite shows ever in their 5 years of existence. The first 3 weeks of March, when Okada and Ospreay and especially when Mercedes came in, they were doing big things, and they were getting universal praise. But tonight, that universal praise is out the damn window. So a lot of people here on YouTube have absolutely positively unleashed bloody hell, and they have every damn right to.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to go as extreme as they do. We'll leave that
Oh
to the
no.
professionals.
We'll leave that to the pros.
To the professionals, and we're going to keep it as professional and clean as we possibly can. But the only thing that we agree with the profanity laced tirade hotheads on here, the only thing that we do agree with them about is we're just as angry and pissed off about it as you guys are.
Oh yeah,
we are, but we decided to take the high.
We're taking the PG route.
PG route, yeah, high road.
We're taking unfortunately, and I know a lot of people is going to be like, why are you taking this kind of route? Trust me, guys. Out of respect for our friends, out of respect for the families,
yes.
Out of respect for for you guys out there, you don't want to hear us f this, f that, blah 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 blah. I mean, look, we could do that, we could say that, but the thing is, that gets me demonetized. That means if we ever wanted it to make any,
do this for a living.
We can't do that. We can't do all that shenanigans. Sorry, that's not gonna get us. That's not gonna get us anywhere if we try to pull those shenanigans. So
and we're above that, and we're better than that. So
yeah.
So, and we hold ourselves to high standards, like I said in my monologue earlier. So,
yeah, we do.
And we're gonna stay true to those standards, until the day comes where we can't do this anymore. So, but Anyways, it's WCW all over again, and after tonight, the ship is slowly on the verge of starting to sink. So, I mean,
The only thing I can think of is that I hope, and I know, and I don't want to say this as offensive as this may come off. I hope this is not that the version of the iceberg hitting the Titanic.
like WCW.
For WCW, yeah. I hope this is not like the iceberg hitting the Titanic, and now you got the damage. That now we have the initial damage. That when I'm not gonna go beyond that.
No.
Could this have been that iceberg hitting Titanic type moment? Did we just witness that tonight?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
To sum it all up, long story short, to sum it all up, it's AEW having sour grapes because of the fact that, CM Punk spoke his mind on the Ariel Helwani podcast. And they had to be so damn butthurt. Like a couple of, like all these, these clueless high school rah, funny, teeny bopper.
Yep.
Reality show BS.
Yep.
Which is why I don't watch reality shows.
Thank God. Yeah. So. I used to when I was younger. I used to watch like the challenge, the Road Rules, Real World Challenges. I did get into the Jersey Shore in my early years when I was in college. I was getting into that. But other than that, nah, man. I mean, I've strayed away from that now. So yeah, but that's what it was. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, so let's just move on along. Let's get back into the wrestling that you guys have been waiting for. Shane Taylor, Anthony Ogogo, and Lee Moriarty versus Hook, Shibata, and Chris Jericho. And it was the Shane Taylor crew winning the match in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. So, Anthony Florio, I'll give it to you, man.
What was the time?
8:15.
This is about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. All right. I got to unleash a little more on this. This made Chris Jericho look like an idiot instead of the experienced veteran who was trying to mentor someone. But even if that was the point, it made little sense for his character to do this unless it would lead to an eventual betrayal, which Jericho has already mentioned as something he has done several times. Most of the wrestling was decent, but the way it ended stuck out in both good and bad ways. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. So, and before this, Will Ospreay gave a promo before this with a not so subtle response to Triple H's comment about some people not being able to handle the grind. Sure thing. Okay. So that's all. I'm just gonna park that there. So
the reason why that happened was I'm just going to take it for a moment. Yeah. Triple H made that comment on the Pat McAfee show during WrestleMania weekend. It was the Friday before Mania, and yeah, he opened fired on that shot. It wasn't as bad. What happened was he made that comment, and I don't think it was as look. I don't mind Will Ospreay. I think if there was ever a guy who's willing to say that, I think Ospreay's one of the good guys. They talk about that, and he talked about that. You got a commitment that if you want to do this company, that you got to have a commitment, that you got to be willing to work, that you got to be willing to do the thing. If you don't want to do the work, this is not for you. And I don't know if he meant that. If he means that for WWE, hey, that's okay. We get it. But if he meant that in professional wrestling, I think that's why Will Ospreay went off and disagreed with Triple H. Hey, we all have our own opinions. We all have our own things. So I'm not mad that he said that. And there were some guys out there, and some of the guys that I know who are professional wrestlers, that wasn't really happy with Hunter with those comments. So there was some that actually did take umbrage with the comments that Hunter made on Friday. So I mean, hey, fair enough, to each his own. I don't, I'm not going to say anything bad, So, it is what it is. Now,
Indeed.
as it pertains to the match, yeah, 2.5, 2 3/4. It was a fine match. Really nothing more to say there. So then we had Karushika Okada putting the Continental title. Actually, it was a non-title fight. He squashed the guy in a minute 20. Dud. Worst fight of the night. Not even worth the time or the energy. Next up we had was Mariah May versus Anna Jay. Mariah May winning the match in 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Then we had then Anna Jay after the match, she basically put her down with the Queen Slayer. Then we had Mina Sakura coming out, and basically to no reaction. But the thing is, I think the fans were still, and this is what I was meaning by, the crowd and how it felt like the crowd basically tuned out AEW. And they did for a little while, because I think they were still pissed off at AEW for the footage. And you notice during a couple of the matches, nobody cared about the Okada fight. Nobody cared about this women's match, which is unfortunate because Mariah May and Anna Jay, they had a pretty decent fight. It was about a 2.5 star bout. I just feel bad for the women because nobody cared about the fight. The fans were literally sitting on their hands at that moment. And I feel bad for them because they're putting their, they're trying to do a story here. They're trying to perform, and the match just didn't hit or didn't resonate with fans. I don't know. I don't know, man. It kind of, it just didn't work. It did not work. The match was fine. Anthony Florio, it's yours. My heart goes out to Mariah May and Anna Jay because they tried. I think it was just that the fans had checked out at that point. The fans were still pissed off.
Oh, definitely. And they had every right to be. I know I would have been. I would have been. We would have been if we had been there. But all right. Mariah May and Anna Jay wasted no time getting into the action and seemed to wake the crowd. They woke the crowd up a bit. Mariah May was definitely the aggressor most of the time, but Anna Jay didn't just job to her. There were a few exchanges when the former Dark Order member had control before May would turn things around again. Jay was in control for a bit when May used the counter to pin her. Jay applied the Queen Slayer and choked May out until Mina Shirakawa from Stardom made the save. Match was decent, but ultimately forgettable unless it leads to something interesting for Anna Jay. And our dear friend Ryan Abedizian pointed out an interesting statistic on his social media that I came across. Anna Jay in singles matches has never won a singles match in AEW. 0-15. Wow. Okay. And he's a diehard Anna Jay fan. And
yeah,
he is not happy about the way she's been booked. So, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. But nonetheless, I will give it 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for the effort. So, there was a fun little moment afterwards. Shirakawa planted a lip lock on Mariah May. Whoa, hey now. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this match was a Tony special, by the way, because I have a thing for both of these both of these young ladies because they're both drop dead gorgeous, both of them. So I had a lot of fun with this match on a personal front, but the 2.5 to 2 3/4, that's my professional take on it. So But anyways, not much more to say. MF, we move on to the match that we thought we were going to get at the start, but it ended up being pushed to the main event. And, well, I'll explain my reasoning on that in just a moment.
Sure. It was Samoa Joe going up one-on-one with the natural Dustin Rhodes, and it was Joe winning the main event. Okay, there he goes. He won the main event by, let me see, where's the time of the fall? 9 minutes and 35 seconds. So Joe wins the match, and then, yeah, second time tonight, Swerve Strickland showed up and got the upper hand at the end. And at the end of the night, had his hands on the AEW World Title. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think we all know the reasoning for this match. Dustin Rhodes randomly booked for a World Championship Eliminator match. Gee, I wonder why that could have happened. Oh, could it have been the events of Sunday night when his younger brother pulled off the greatest WrestleMania moment of all time? Maybe. Could that have had something to do with it? I think so. But anyways, Samoa Joe carried a chain to the ring for his match against Dustin Rhodes. The Natural had an advantage due to Joe limping from the attack at the top of the show, but the champion didn't make for an easy target. Joe busted Rhodes open with a whip into the ring post and tried to open up the wound with a few punches. Rhodes brought the AEW title into the ring, but referee Paul Turner talked him out of using it. He had a long period when he was on offense before Joe tried to use the chain. Ref took it from him, but Joe was able to use the belt as a weapon behind his back to get the win. He choked out Rhodes until Swerve delivered a kick to the head out of nowhere. He picked up the chain and used it to punch Joe in the face. Show ended with Swerve holding up the title as Joe looked on angrily. Booking this bout 3 days after Cody Rhodes won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania is no coincidence. Dustin might be the only person in AEW whose percentage of matches with blood is higher than that of Jon Moxley. Power slamming a guy the size of Joe is an impressive feat of strength, and Dustin being willing to use the belt right in front of the referee after giving a passionate promo about wanting to be a world champion last week seems so out of character. I will give this somewhere between 3 and 3.25 for the effort. So there isn't much more for me to say. Joe choked him out with the Coquita Clutch. Shout out to Michael Bullock. So now MF, Swerve held up the belt there. Does that do we really need to read into anything? Read into that, what you will, as I give it.
No, well, I don't think we need to read into it what it will. We do know that was a big win for Samoa Joe, and he moves on from there. Does it leave us with something that we can think about down the line? We'll wait and see. But at the end of the day, the right man won. Swerve holding the belt. I don't think normally you say booking 101. That doesn't mean Swerve wins this, but the thing is, everybody wants to see Swerve with the title. So who knows? Who knows? But I don't know. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But, all right, let's just kind of give our final thoughts about the show and our overall review. And Anthony, actually, I lead off on this. All right. Other than the controversial moment or the incident, it was a fine AEW show. But I got to give this no more than 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I think it was fine for what it was worth, but it definitely was dampened by what happened with the incident at All In. With them doing that and the whole 9 yards, it kind of felt like it was definitely newsworthy, but now as you saw, it ended up being a double-edged sword because yes, it might have benefited them, but it also hurt them in the process. And it looks like the damage is even worse than what they were hoping for. So I don't know. We'll wait and see how it plays out. Anthony, it's yours. You have the final say for tonight.
Yeah, I'll give it about 7, maybe 7.5. tonight's show was paced so differently from every other episode of Dynamite that it's hard to know what to make of it. I mean, the first hour only had one match, but it was easily the best one. Adam Copeland and Penta El Zero Miedo put on a fun bout that had the crowd on its feet. It's one of those first-time matchups for the TNT champion that seems random, but ended up delivering. The footage from All In didn't exactly reveal any new information, and it's doubtful this will lead to anyone changing their opinions about what happened. Tony Storm's segment felt rushed, and the rest of the show was business as usual. Even though this episode was hyped up quite a bit in advance, it's going to end up being one of the more forgettable episodes when we look back on 2024. 7, and it's 7 to 7.5. I 100% agree. So with that being said, MF, let's put the bow on this.
And we are done. So now Friday night is actually TXN Sports World, and we will be recapping the 2 national championship games in the men's and the women's. And then I do believe we do have something else in the pipeline, Anthony. Oh, we also got UFC 300 we got to preview. So UFC 300 previewing, I will preview that on Friday. And on Anthony, anything else?
Week 3 of the UFL. Since we did not get to preview week number 2 because
so we'll recap week 2. We'll preview week 3.
We'll lead off with the women's and men's championship games, and then we'll get into week number 3 of the we'll recap week 2 of the UFL, and then do a and then we'll recap week 2 of UFL. We'll preview week 3 of UFL, and in the main event, MF will preview UFC 300, and then what's on the table for Saturday, MF?
Well, Saturday is the return of the Cerebral Smack Talk back in its regular time slot at 10:30 with SmackDown Live, and we also will have AEW Collision. So with that said, we're done. Thank you, Anthony Flair. Thank you guys as always. And until then, have a good night, everybody, and so long for now.
Goodbye.